So this page is the beginning of Unit 2. Unit 1 was mostly introduction information and kind of the overall idea, but now Unit 2, this includes modules in Canvas, modules 4, 5, 6. Unit 2, it'll conclude with a checkpoint at the end of Module 6. So it'll kind of expand on that big picture idea we were talking about in the last video we made in Module 3. So the big picture, it has 3 steps when we do a statistical investigation. First, produce data. So you take a population, find a random sample of an appropriate size, which we'll talk about later. Produce data about it, whether it's ask people a question, their opinion about something, or observe something about people or animals or objects. Collect the data, so then we explore the data, analyze it, and summarize it, either with a graph or get percentages out of it, kind of like we talked about in the last video. And then we'll draw a conclusion. So that sample that we took should pretty much represent the overall population we're interested in, at least with some kind of degree of certainty. But in these modules 4 through 6, we'll focus on the first step of that statistical investigation, how to produce data. In order to draw conclusions about a population, the sample must represent the population without bias. So that's kind of what we were talking about in the last video. That means, if I choose the population, if I choose the sample myself as a person, I have bias, so I might, I probably secretly want to draw a certain conclusion as a researcher. Like if you're studying the effects of a drug on someone, you want it to work. So you might, somehow pick a population that you think will at least say it works, even if it doesn't work, or something. I don't know if you can trust yourself or someone else to pick those samples. So you want probably a random sample generated by a computer or something, and then get information out of it either by asking people questions or studying them or making notes about objects or animals or something. We'll produce the data. Okay, we'll discuss 2 types of statistical investigations. There's the observational study and then the experiment. So we'll talk more about it, but pretty much the observational study is me just looking at people or animals, watching them, or asking them about themselves. Like the one we talked about in the previous video. Do you support the death penalty or not? That's still called an observational study, even though I'm not looking at someone or observing them. Versus an experiment, this is where you're kind of, as a researcher, you're kind of doing something, you're acting on something, either giving a drug to people or, I know sometimes there's psychological studies, right, where you make someone try to do a puzzle when they're really tired, or I don't know, or some people are well rested and they're trying to do a puzzle versus, things like that. I'm not really giving them medicine or anything like that. I'm kind of having them do something, so I'm kind of controlling what's happening. That's more the experiment, I guess, versus the observational study where you're just either asking a question of people or just watching animals or objects and making notes about them, I guess is the basic idea, but we'll talk more about it. Each type of investigation involves a different approach to collecting data. We'll also see that our approach to collecting data determines what we can conclude from the data.